This video will cover how we can use Google Forms at the start of a new lesson to provide questions and cues that can get the class prepped for the upcoming lesson. Before utilizing technology, it's important to remember that the whole purpose of this exercise is to get students thinking about a topic based on some things that they already know. And with this in mind, we want to make sure that we create well thought out questions that are really going to bridge the gap between past knowledge and the current topic. So once we have those questions, we can start with looking at Google Forms. And so here I have a blank form, and I can type in my title, and I can give instructions first, and I can also go into the settings and set up some options for this document. In particular, I'm going to set this as a quiz, and I'm going to show them all the answers, but not immediately after each student submits. I will reveal the answers after everyone has submitted their answers, so I'm going to have control of that. Then I can start typing in my questions, and this is one reason I have opted to use Google Forms over quizzes. I really like the variety of question options that Google Forms gives us, whereas quizzes seems to limit us only to multiple choice questions. So with Google Forms, I can select the question types that seem most appropriate for a given situation. I can choose from multiple choice, I can choose a drop-down menu, I can choose a checkbox grid, or a linear scale. And here we can see a form that I've already created as the final product, which includes multiple choice questions right here, and then it also includes multiple answer questions. And all these answer options include picture files for equations. So this is a survey that will be used to introduce the trigonometric functions sine and cosine. So I asked two questions about right triangles, where the students can select one option as the correct length of a side. I have other questions that ask about various equations that relate or don't relate to triangles, where students can pick as many answers as they believe are correct. And after the students take this quiz in class, the benefit of Google Forms is that it grades it automatically and can graphically present the results, which I can immediately share with the class. And the results might look something like this. From this, I can see that the class overall has a pretty good idea of how to use the Pythagorean theorem to find a missing side length, because everyone selected the correct answer, option 3. I see from the next question that they haven't quite memorized some key right triangles because they gave wrong answers or even just stated, I don't know. From the next page, I can see that many of them have actually not learned or have forgotten about the right triangle trigonometric ratios because these equations, which were options 5 and 10, weren't selected by most. This person selected both of them, but 5 and 10 were not selected by the others. And so that can help me with the entire class. I can share that information, but for individual students, I can even go into individuals, and then I can release the scores to everyone. And so I can select all the email addresses for all the students that I want to release the scores for, and they'll each get an email, something like this, where they can view their scores. And so they can see which questions they got right, which questions they got wrong, and I might end up hearing some comments like, oh, now I remember that formula, or something similar, oh, I forgot to do this. So with this, hopefully we've achieved the primary goal of this activity. The class has successfully answered these questions, and they're now starting to think about triangles and how they might relate to the upcoming lesson on the sine and cosine functions, which just allows them to better relate the new information that will come up in the next lesson. Even further, the students might actually just be excited from this activity to recall their past information and learn something new. As an added benefit, this survey also gives me information about tough spots for individual students, as well as tough spots for the class as a whole when I can look at the individual data, and I can also look at the overall summary for the class. And so I can tailor my upcoming discussions to best meet the needs of the students.